Bigler Beats here. Today I'm going to be working in Pro Tools. So my brother came over and we started recording a song. We do have a group called the Bigler Bros. We really don't make much anymore. It's a hip hop group, but just because we're so busy. But we had a little time, so we threw together a track here on one of the beats I made. Beats Untitled 9. I really haven't posted anything about it. It's just an older beat, not even that old, but kind of older, where that I had and we liked it, so we went ahead and recorded for it. So I have it broken down. I tracked everything out from FL Studio. I tracked it out as individual mixer track files. I mixed it. If you need to learn how to do that, I'll have another video on that. But I bounced every file out individually. So the kick drum separate, the bass line separate. I got my snare, hi-hat, cymbals, tom rolls, and 3 synths. They're all separate, so I can control the volume individually. I can put effects on them. I can put filters on them, whatever I need to make the mix how I want it. So everything's, exported out here. I have it in the project. We even have all the vocals for the hook or chorus recorded. So I'm going to let you guys listen to it first so you kind of have an idea what we're working on without being mixed, just kind of like what we recorded. I did a little sweetening on the vocals with some effects, as you can see here, but in terms of the overall mix, I haven't done anything with the instrumental yet or to mix the vocals and the instrumental together. So I'm going to play it from the beginning here. If you guys learn anything today, make sure you like and subscribe for the channel to support it. And I'm going to start here at the beginning and we'll give it a run.
Saying A-O, A-O, A. Saying A-O, A-O, A. Saying A-O, A-O, A. Saying A-O, A-O, A. Saying
And this is the verse. You can we wanted a backing hook in the verse as well. So I think you guys get the idea. My brother and I really like it a lot. We try to come up with stuff that's catchy. We don't even have a topic for the song, but we at least have that backing vocal melody for the most part that people can easily sing along to. So that's kind of what we went with here. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. Control plus on a PC is to switch in between your timeline and your mixers. So I'm going to start here with my mixers. I already have everything routed properly. For the most part, to simplify it, what I have here is an instrumental auxiliary bus. Everything in my instrumental is eventually going to get to this bus. In the meantime, though, every individual tracked out file that I have, which I individually tracked out each file through FL Studio, so my snare, my hi-hat, my kick, my melodies, my 3 synths, all my drums and bass line, they're all tracked out, so I can individually control the volume of each sound. Each sound is routed to an auxiliary bus track. For here, I broke it down to 3 buses. We have the melody, we have the drums, and we have the bass. Bass is considered anything to me that has low frequencies in it that you're going to have to really concentrate on getting those to mesh well. So I have a kick drum and a bass line in there because you want the kick drum to fit in with the bass line and vice versa, just because you're going to get a lot of it's going to sound really mushy if you don't mix that properly. And then I have all the drums, like the hi-hat, the snare, cymbals, tom roll. They're all routed to the drum bus. And then same for the melodies. My 3 melodies are routed to the melody bus. So for example, if I'm playing the beat, and each of those buses is routed to the final instrumental. So if I'm playing the beat, I can mute the melody and the melody's gone, or I can adjust the volume of the melody individually. or I can take the bass out, or I can take the bass and melody out and just hear the drums. So it gives you a lot of mixing options when you have everything routed properly, and you can, you know, maybe you'll see how I mix here. So let's start with the I'm gonna take out the vocals completely, and eventually the vocals are gonna be very important to mix, but right now I'm just gonna mute them out just so I can focus on the beat. Normally, I'm going to mix this kind of like I do in FL Studio, just with a basic mix. I didn't mix it that well in FL Studio. I kind of left it to here. I did some cuts, but I'm going to mute out the melody and the drums and just focus initially on the bass line. I'm just going to focus on the kick here. And I'm just thinking really what I want to mix to. Right now it's hitting on the master at -8. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm going to boost this a little bit because I want it to hit more like -6. I'd rather mix at -6, so it's going to hit at -6 there. I'm going to bring in the bass line now. Actually, I'm going to see where the bass line hits, sorry. I'm going to see where the bass line hits alone. I actually had an RMS, like, it's kind of like a loudness meter. So I'm going to go back and look at this again. Yeah, I'm hitting right at -6, so... I like the bass line in this. It's not too fat. I don't want to get it out of control where it sounds kind of dumb. So I really don't want to affect it too much, but... I might try to just fatten it up a little bit here. You know what, I'm going to leave it go for now. I'm just going to let it be. If I want to fatten it up later, because I have a tendency to get a lot of the hip-hop feel into it and get a lot of bass line, but this beat just goes hard just without a lot of the low rumble. So I'm just going to kind of leave it as is. What I am going to do, though, is I am going to put in a little bit of compression. So I'm going to use the R compressor here, and I'm going to see where it hits first. And I'm trying to find the lowest point threshold-wise, just looking visually. And you see it drops down to about there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of, just increase the ratio a little bit. Probably do 2. And I mean, your speakers only can replicate so much, can output so much of the frequency range. So my monitors, I think, I'm looking to get a sub soon, but I mean, you have to know what your speakers go to. So mine are 40 hertz. So anything under 40 hertz, you start to lose actual decibels of the audio coming out, or it's not even there. So you kind of, even though I can't hear some of that low coming through where it's really, where the compressor is really working hard, it's compressing some of that low end. And in addition, what I'm going to also do here is I'm going to put on just the standard Pro Tools channel strip, and I'm just going to cut everything below 20 like that just to be safe, so I don't have any muddiness way low. I'm bringing the kick back in. Kick's a little harsh for me sounding. I don't know. I might. It's risky because I mean, then you're gonna affect the kick if you put some compression on it. But I'm gonna go with the 76, and I'm gonna just hit it with this kick. But I'm gonna do real light here. I'm not gonna really use the compressor that hard. I took a little bit of the muddiness out of it for me, and then I'm also going to put on this is one of the best EQs ever in my opinion. I'm going to just mess with it, see what I can get out of it. Really what I'm doing here is I'm trying to pick out a sound that I don't like. That's why I'm boosting it. It's not because I think it sounds good. Sometimes good to leave a little high end in your kick because depending on what speaker system you're listening to, like I'll literally listen to a mix on an iPhone or just something like your laptop speakers just to see what it sounds like. Can you listen to it anywhere and get a good mix? So I mean, this is just the first initial mix. I'm doing it what sounds good on my studio monitors, which most of the time my studio monitors are so accurate that it sounds, if I can get it sounding good on my monitors, it normally sounds better on anything else I listen to. So this is like this is the hardest thing for me to get the mix right on. I listen to it in headphones. You want to listen to it on everything you can to get the mix how you want it. But right now I'm just mixing on my monitors. You can see I'm peaking here, so I'm gonna throw a limiter on this just so I keep it from peaking. It's going to compress it a little. Kick sounds a little fatter to me, a little more clean, a little more pure, less like there's sound that was leaking out of it that wasn't clean. Now it's just a defined punch kick. So now I'm going to work some drums into it, especially the snare, get this where it needs to be. And before I get the snare, I'm listening for the bass line here just to make sure it's where it needs to be level-wise. Like I said, this song, I'm not going for a real, I want the kick to be hard, I want the snare to be hard, and I want the bass line to be there. But I don't want this to be a normal hip-hop beat where the bass line's just coming through real strong. I want it to be there. I want it to be like a back bass line. I don't want it to be like forefront out in your ears. Let's see where the snare hits on the grand scheme of things here. So I'm just going to mute the bass. It's hitting a little under 6, whereas the kick's hitting 6, I believe. Yeah, so now it's all by your ears though. So it's not necessarily like you got to get them perfect, but I'm going to try to get it close. You know what? I'm actually limiting my. I'm not looking at this right. So, the snare's coming in here. It's going into my drum bus. My drum bus is set at -6. My drum bus is routed into my 23-24 instrument track, which has a -1.5 gain on it. So by the time it reaches my master bus, I'm sitting below -6. It looks like. Which makes complete sense. So there's no way that I'm going to be able to get it to -6. So how's my kick drum hitting at -6? I'm sending it to 1920. I've got no drop on that. It's hitting there, and then it's going into 23-24 with a negative. I don't know how I got my kick that loud, to be honest. I mean, it's hard for me to see in the short term right now, but. We're going to do the fix. It's not always best to boost, so I'm going to cut just so I can get them both to a little under -6. I want the snare to be compressed a little bit for a little more snap. Now we're hitting the same. Baseline I'm going to have to turn down about 1.4 to compensate for what I did with the kick. Bring the hi-hat in. Normally I let the hi-hat sit in the back, like lower, but I kind of want it out in front for this beat because I like it. I'll listen to those cymbals again. I like how they're kind of aggressive. I'm just going to throw, instead of decreasing the volume, well, I'll just bring it down a little bit. I kind of like them being loud, so I'm just going to get them decrease it a tiny bit. And then my tom roll. I think it comes in at the right volume. It's there, you can hear it. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to look at the melody now. I'm just going to drop them all the way low. See, I already dropped the melody down to where I think it should be, so. See, when I mix, you got to make room for the vocals. So the melody is one of those things that you have to make compromises with volume and how you EQ it. A big secret is you can roll off the top end of your melodies just overall, and it creates a lot more space for the top end of your vocal track. So that's what I normally do. Right now it's sitting at what? Let's see, -13,000 kilohertz. So. What did I do? Wow. I don't even know what I clicked there, but that completely messed it up. So I'm just going to pull a new one in. Am I... Oh. Wow. Can I just start over, please? Because I don't know. Thank you. I don't know what the heck just happened. I don't know. I've never done that before. So anyway, I'm going to put on... I think I had it cut about 65 just for all the low stuff, and then we'll just stick with, I think I was going to do 14 because I don't want to cut too much off. And eventually the beat's going to be compressed more when you get it in. It's not compressed, well, other than the kick and some individual instruments being compressed. You're going to push it up into the top like into the 0 dB range. It's going to be compressed more, so the melody is actually going to relatively get louder in relation to the kicks in the long run. So that's why I mixed it a little low. It might be a little loud still. It's about time, though, to get the vocal in here. So I'm going to open it up. I'm really just going to control... Now, you got to remember, I'm going to control 3 of these, the reverb, delay, and vocal, at the same time. Because if I just do the vocal... then the reverb and delay will still be there at the same volume. I'm gonna go to the chorus part. I'm gonna go to the chorus with the beat too. You know what? And this song isn't as important that the kick's really hitting. That sounds weird for hip hop, but I mean, I just want, like, I want you to hear the kick, but I don't want it to be annoying. Like the song is made, I feel like, with this type of song, with the hook of the vocals and everything like that. So I feel like the kick's hitting a little hard right now, so I'm just gonna bring it back a little bit. Okay, so now I got that. I normally want to hear, like, what's this going to sound like when I actually master it, you know? I like to master stuff like, well, not master it, but I like to get it to proper levels, like past the mixing stage, during the mixing stage, so I know what it feels like. Some people like to wait to the end, but, I mean, how are you supposed to know what the song sounds like if you wait to the end, you know? I want to hear it now. Like, what does it sound like now? So I'm going to go create a new auxiliary stereo bus. it's gonna show up here. So I send everything in this song is sent to this monitor mix. Except my reverbs, which I'm gonna change because I didn't know. That's why you double, triple check everything. So I'm gonna send these to bus 5, 6. And since I don't have any effects on the master bus or bus 5, 6, it's gonna sound the same if I send it to 5, 6. I know that. Or no, wait a second. Yeah. Okay, so now when I play it, everything's muted. Now I'm gonna send this bus to a new bus. I'm gonna call this 3, 4. I'm gonna send this bus to 3, 4. So now everything's gonna send to this. This is gonna be my mix 1, I'll call it. So I leave my monitor mix alone. I don't put anything on it. I want to have a bus where I have the mix on it and that's it. I don't want to put any effects on it. So that's that. I send it over to this. Now this is my effect bus. I normally create another bus, auxiliary input, and I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to call this mix 2. And this is before it gets to my master. So I'm gonna call this one bus. Wait a second. Oh, I made it mono accidentally. I'm gonna delete it. Bring it back here. Track. I'm going to click here, track, new, do a stereo auxiliary track. Okay, I'm going to call it mix 2. Okay, I'm going to create bus 1, 2. I'm going to send this to bus 1, 2. So now I have 2 different tracks with many effects that I can really use as my mastering buses. So first thing I'm going to do, I have the heat here, so this is going to make it sound a little warmer. I'm going to listen to it and mess with this first, see what I can get out of it. This almost takes a little bit of the kick away, like the punchiness of it, but it kind of meshes it together a little better. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. We can always change it. I'm also going to bring in here, I normally run it through, I don't know, I do something different every time. Whatever I'm feeling really. So let's see. We'll run it through J37. I normally put on, it's kind of like the, you know, trying to run it through like a tape recorder to give it more of an analog sound. So I'm going to run it with mastering, probably this. Change that so it's just not over distorting the sound there. A little bit over. Probably just gonna run it through C6 just so it levels off some of the changing EQ and dynamics of the song. Say it. to start from a preset that sounds good and work from there. Like, not completely start from scratch. That kind of balances the levels out over time based on the volume of the audio coming into it, which I like. Normally I put on my vocal master I have a couple compressors. I normally put a hard one on just to make sure I get some of those high peaks out. Normally do a high cut. Male vocals normally around 16.8, females like 17.8, just so I don't get so I get kind of clear up some of that mix a little bit. Sounded pretty good though. I like it. You know, I don't want to do too much to it, so I'm going to let it go through that. And then I'm going to use this bus as kind of the master. So I'm going to just run it through the L1 limiter and just push it into it a little bit, see what we can get out of it. Now this is going to essentially make your mix louder, so you're going to have to turn your speakers down a little.